Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today, April 7th, Thursday. The man they call Meathead, the Matthew Thomas of Matthew Thomas, is the M.O.T.S, which we found out is Matthew of the, what was the one I came up with? I think it was Matthew of Ticket Securing, Matthew Thomas.
Yes, that was happening last Friday night at Shenanigans. I was securing some tickets, and I was telling people, like, you can pass, you can't pass. You know, I was a gatekeeper, Meathead.
You were the gatekeeper. There is no gatekeeper, only Zool.
Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? If you're coming back from WrestleMania or Dallas or wherever, and you don't have any clothes to wear, Meathead, who you gonna call when you need clothes? Or what website you gonna go to? You're gonna go to collarandelbowbrand.com.
Exactly. Tell us about it.
You're gonna enter promo code Linda K. You're gonna save 10% off on all your goods, and you might have some new spring post WrestleMania fashion to wear. You probably were down in Dallas or watching WrestleMania or watching one of the various events WrestleMania weekend, and you saw all that collar and elbow gear in the crowd, and you just want a piece of that action.
Ringside, we saw it during the Undertaker Hall of Fame presentation. We saw collar and elbow all over the place.
You probably saw it when you had a bunch of suitcases at the baggage claim that you grabbed and weren't yours, and you
Matthew, I had at a tailgate I was at on Saturday, I had somebody ring the bell in front of me and expected me to just go rah, and then they rang the bell again. I went bah, because I had my Festus face on.
That's the way it's supposed to work, man.
All right, Matthew, we've talked about the sponsor. I want you to tell us, really give me a summary of your experience in Dallas. Now, the wrestling-wise, little side note, we know that you had to stay for work-related stuff in Dallas for the last. You literally just returned last night from Dallas. But
I just returned, and I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I've actually stayed spoiler-free of night 2 of WrestleMania and Monday Night Raw of Mania. So I am not I plan to be in the loop tomorrow, but yeah, in this modern world 2022, I have managed to be able to stay spoiler free, but I'll tell you all about night 1 of WrestleMania,
tell us the experience.
Which was absolutely outstanding for more reasons than one. I mean, I'll start first with putting 70,000 people in an arena in these last couple of years when shows have not been an option, or shows were an option distance, or shows were an option with masks on. To be able to put 77,000 plus people in AT&T Stadium, seated normally, everything normally, great stadium, great venue, the crowd there, WWE production. We got there hour and a half, 2 hours before the show on Saturday. We walked right in. There was no line at the gate.
You heard Linda and I, right? We experienced the exact same thing. Walked right in.
Did you really? That's outstanding. I mean, I couldn't believe it for WrestleMania. Venue was fantastic. Card in general, Saturday night, I thought they made a little bit of a risk. This year, you had multiple matches on the card that really didn't get your traditional WrestleMania build. I think you started out with 2, if not 3 of those on Saturday night. That crowd stayed hot. What that meant was you had a lot of your stuff backloaded. You had your 2 women's title matches. You had the premiere of Cody Rhodes, which was largely expected, but my goodness, it was such a great pop. And I will say, I finally went back and watched the premiere, just the entrance basically last night on Peacock, since I was there live. I didn't see the feed. Love the fact that the announce team laid back on that. It was probably 3 or 4 minutes of just the crowd and Cody's return. I thought that was absolutely excellent. And of course, Stone Cold actually wrestling an official match in 2022 was absolutely outstanding. Saturday, night 1 of WrestleMania, probably the most feel-good wrestling show that I've ever been a part of, from being able to get, close to a capacity crowd there, but just the return of Cody, return of Stone Cold, big time matches. The Cowboys cheerleaders starting the show, I thought, was a great touch. I mean, just a great night overall. And, I mentioned it to you and Linda. I'll mention it to the crowd. One thing that I really loved about night one, you have to bit out there at the end where Byron Saxton came out. He got stunned. That was a great callback to the very first Raw they did with no crowd, March 16th, 2020, when you had 316 Day. You had Byron Saxton take a stunner at the very end of that show in front of no audience. Fast forward over 2 years later, where you can put 77,000+ people in AT&T Stadium again. Having him able to do that in front of an audience, I thought, so much of the last 2 years just really came full circle with the ending of Saturday night.
Amazing. And again, we could, folks, talk about what's happened throughout the week. Obviously, it being Thursday the 7th, us being 5 days removed. But we're going to save Matthew that little bit.
Yes.
He's still catching up.
Talk about it amongst yourself.
Yeah, he's still catching up a little bit. We will not talk about anything that happened Sunday. When we talk to Matthew again tomorrow morning, Matthew will be all caught up. We promise. We'll get into his feelings on what happened on night two.
Also, don't spoil me on anything that happened with the MASH finale either.
Night 2 of WrestleMania and the Raw and NXT as well. So we will definitely get into all of that. We are going to talk about some news that has popped this week, and it has to do with something that happened at Stand and Deliver. I wouldn't necessarily say Stand and Deliver, but we're going to say that involves some of the NXT talent. Nash Carter, one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, MSK, for lack of a better term, if you don't know who it is, it's the white guy. Nash Carter has been released by WWE. This isn't a budget cut. This isn't a, hey, you know what, we're not doing anything with them. There are reports of physical and mental, I wouldn't say assault, I'd say abuse, several allegations of abuse from his wife, who is an Impact Wrestling star and former Chikara Grand Champion, Kimber Lee. Over the past week, Kimber Lee has alleged that Carter physically and emotionally abuses her and has accused him of holding anti-LGBTQ views. And Lee also had posted at one point a photo of Carter doing what appeared to be a Nazi salute while sporting a mustache similar to Adolf Hitler. It should be noted that Lee initially made the allegations against Carter in late March before deleting them from her social media. She had also noted that the couple had been working on their issues before reissuing her allegations this week and saying they were done for good. There's something going on here. Now, when the allegations were first made, she took them back. When they won the tag team championships, she posted out, hey, so proud, wife of a champion, even though they're going through that stuff. Now she's posting this again, and she posted pictures of herself with the how she was physically abused. And she alleges that he said to her, you're a wrestler, you should be used to having a marked up face. Matthew.
Yeah, WWE doing the only thing they can do in this situation. I don't think it really goes beyond that. It's that you can't dig your heels in, or even, unfortunately, really wait to see how this thing plays out from a company's perspective like this. They're doing, really what they've got to do at this juncture.
They got to let him go. And unfortunately for his partner, he's going to be sitting in limbo until they decide what happens. He unofficially, in this case, even though he's not the one that's done it, he's not the one that, is being accused. It's like he's suspended with pay because he won't be on TV.
No, exactly. That's when you've got somebody who is synonymous with a tag team, it's going to take a little while, most likely, to figure out what direction to go into.
We've got even more news that happened, I believe, on Friday, March 25th. Tammy Sitch, again. We've said on this very program, Matthew, I wish I could tell you that I don't remember this, and this was the first time. It is not the first time. Yeah. Tammy is being accused of, it's possible. Let's take the word accused out. It is possible she is the one responsible for a fatal 3-car crash in Ormond Beach, Florida on Friday, March 25th. Now, they say Sitch failed to stop around 8:28 while driving southbound on US 1, just north of the Granada Boulevard, when she crashed into a stopped vehicle. That vehicle then crashed into the vehicle in front of it. The driver of the vehicle hit by Sitch, announced as the gentleman's name was Julian LaFrancis Lassiter, was transported to the hospital and pronounced dead. Tammy Lynn Sitch, they're going to have to wait for the toxicology reports. If this is true to where she was under the influence or of alcohol, drugs, or whatever, that is vehicular manslaughter.
Yeah.
And we've been begging Tammy to get some help. Here's the part that bothers me absolutely the most, besides the death. Tammy, earlier on the day of the crash, posted this, and folks, I'm gonna use the exact language that was there. Well, assholes, since my name has been towards the top of the kill list for the past 20 years and I'm still fucking alive, shit. My autograph is worth more now, so once I do croak, you can sell it for a lot more money. Come see me out at a signing. Tammy, for the love of God, get help.
Yeah. No, and that's not the first time that you've said that. And I mean, this has been a recurring theme, and it's getting the consequences are getting worse and worse, as you have seen with this latest incident. And that's all you can say at this juncture. And it's, we're in a situation where if that does pan out like that, I mean, just the consequences are more and more severe. And we've got somebody who has lost a life in this latest incident.
A little bit more positive news before we get into AEW Dynamite from last night. There are two superstars from the NXT brand that are looking to be called up to the main roster. First off, a young lady who we think would be tremendous in the women's division, Raquel Gonzalez, has been pitched to be called up to the main roster, and somebody that Matthew Thomas, I have pined for to be in the main roster since this gentleman debuted. Was it at WrestleMania last year, I believe, that he debuted at the pre-show when he interrupted Wade Barrett and
that sounds about right.
Yeah, L.A. Knight. Now, here's the thing. There's talk that L.A. Knight may be a manager. Yeah, let him talk in the microphone, but why would you avoid letting this dude who's got a great look and can work in the ring, make him just a manager?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, some is better than none, but let me ask you this. Since they've got a track record of it, do they change his name again when he goes up to the main roster?
Hey, maybe they'll put it like Eli Drake. That'd be a great name. Why don't you try that one?
Maybe he's won his name back.
Maybe Eli Drake. Yeah.
So let me tell you this. All right, if that's the route they're going, and they're not going to have him wrestle for a while, here's what I want to see happen. Here's who I want to see him managing. I want to see him managing Ronda Rousey.
That wouldn't be bad. But what's the story?
I don't know.
Why is he associated with Ronda? What's the story?
I have no idea. Don't give us a story. Just have it happen one week and just go with it. We don't need a backstory.
I guess. But I mean, LA Knight belongs on Raw or SmackDown, and he needs to be talking on the big stage, the big screen, and in front of the big audiences because the guy can work on the microphone. All right, Matthew, you ready to get into Dynamite from last night?
Let's do it.
Okay. The show started off very hot. And again, he's the, we used to talk about this. He's the Adam Cole right now of 2022. He's the Adam Page, Adam Cole, baby, of 2022. You want to start off a crowd hot and a show hot? You started off with Adam Cole's music because it's all about the boom. And this, to be honest, is a pay-per-view style match. It's Adam Cole and Christian Cage.
No, absolutely. And AEW, it amazes me. I mean, they managed to put together first time ever matchups on a consistent level. And we got another one last night. And I think that it's also a great effect too that, Adam Cole is coming out there with he's 12-1. That one loss, who that was to. Like, yeah, they're making the wins and losses matter, but not just in the context of the rankings. You're basically you're doing a good enough job. It's like, oh, that one loss he had, I can remember that. We got MJF's loss record talked about later in the show. I think AEW probably doesn't get enough credit for how well of a low-key job they are doing with that whole,
I'm not rankings and the win-loss records.
Yeah, yep. And I'm going to say the win-loss record in general is just a little bit more powerful, than the whole rankings thing, because it gives context to, each matchup.
And we wondered how this would play out a year after year after year. Remember, they debuted in 2019, so this has worked. I think their ranking system and their win-loss records have worked.
Yeah.
All right. So they go back and forth. They jaw, and they set up a Texas death match next week on Dynamite. By the way, you're going to hear us talk about it. Oh my God, they have set up an amazing card next week. That is a pay-per-view in itself. What's going to happen on Dynamite next week?
Yeah, it is. Only concern here, they're going back to the bloody well with
Right. I don't like it,
again,
but it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's in Texas. It'll be a Texas death match. We'll watch it, and it'll be great except for the extra gore. We don't need it.
Yeah.
For the first time ever, they acknowledged Ring of Honor video-wise. They acknowledged it in a recap, and the reason they did this was Max Caster is going to be in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament qualifying match against a debuting Samoa Joe.
This felt huge. This really felt
They made
huge.
it feel huge.
Seeing Joe there, AEW did, but the audience did as well too. Joe's pop was absolutely humongous.
Joe. Yeah.
And man, just the star power, the absolute star power on that roster is insane, Meathead.
Right. Joe wins with the Muscle Buster post-match. Now we know that Jay Lethal is a heel. And did you see who was with him? They didn't have to explain who it was. That's Sanjay Dutt on the screen with him as well. And Sanjay Dutt was made to look like a star.
So glad to see this, because after the initial splash of Lethal joining AEW, I don't feel like we've gotten much on a weekly basis. Lethal as a heel, he's going to get hopefully more mic time, and this is going to put him, in some programs with some people he otherwise most likely would not have. I'm happy to see this.
All right. The Blackpool Combat Club. They are going to go after Wheeler Yuta and see if they can get something going on there. I didn't like the production of this because Ambrose is standing on his side. When you do interviews, you're supposed to lean the mic over so the guy can stand and face the camera like that. It was weird.
There's no Ambrose in AEW. It's Jon Moxley.
You know what I meant. Let's move into Captain Sean Dean taking on Sean Spears, the chairman, MJF on commentary. Captain Sean Dean on commentary, it's referred to, and again, they made it special. Do you know MJF's only got one loss this year? And do you know who it was to? It was to Captain Sean Dean. Well, Sean Spears also losing to Captain Sean Dean, because I thought a very well done interaction with Wardlow going through the security throughout the arena.
And I mean, from the posters of Wardlow being banned to the natural type of response Wardlow's getting with this angle on a weekly basis, they built a star.
He was a star coming into it. They built even a bigger one. Absolutely. Sammy Guevara and Tay Conte make their interest to do the picture-in-picture gimmick, and that goes to break. You know what? They did the whole sledgehammer to the car thing. I don't really care. I mean, it was what it was, but they got it right. There was a clip of Kingston, Ortiz, and Santana, and Shivani mentioned it. Hey, by the way, when we're backstage, there's usually a monitor back there. It's gone, and we'll tell you what happened with Eddie Kingston in a little bit. I thought it was a little clunky, but then they show Eddie chucked the TV at him. That was kind of funny.
Sometimes it happens, man. It probably would have hurt a little bit more if it was a
tube
TV. Yeah, TV from 25 years ago. But hey, you do what you can.
I would have been more impressed because he would have lifted it and chucked it. You had to ask your friends to help move those TVs.
Oh, those were monsters, man. I got rid of my last tube probably, what is this, 2022? Less than a decade ago. And I mean, those things were just insane.
Yeah, now you're carrying a 60-inch under your arm.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Jade Cargill is being interviewed by Tony Schiavone along with Smart Mark Sterling. I have a problem. I think Jade Cargill is an incredible character. But whoever told her the opening line, Schiavone cut the shit, was good, that line sucks and I can't stand to hear it. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's there's definitely some growing pains there, and I mean we get them. I don't think it's necessarily on a weekly basis. I think it's more consistent than not, but every now and then they come through.
Butcher and the Blade taking on the Hardy Boys, which are the Hardy brothers, Jeff and Matt, in the tables match. We saw Jeff Hardy at Shenanigans last Friday performing an acoustic set. Yeah, you know what? He looked good in the ring, that is for sure. But this was a tables match, and both people had to go through the tables. It looks like the Hardy brothers win, last eliminating Blade with the Swanton Bomb through the table. I do believe, again, that it takes too long to set up. We're watching them while the others are just laying there waiting.
So there was a sign last night in the crowd that said, "What year is this?" And my goodness, I mean, that applied multiple times last night. We're seeing 2000 era looking Hardys, and these are much more significant spots than they seem to have been green lighted to do in the WWE in the last decade or so. I mean, they're going some pretty suggestive spots here. Last night was no exception. So it is still a little bit more surreal sometimes to see. Wow, we got the Hardys doing these crazy ladder spots in 2022.
Yeah, Hikaru Shida and Julia Hart own Hart Foundation tournament qualifier. Shida wins, and here comes Serena Deeb, and we know that that's not over. And I liked how it went.
Yeah, this was an interesting match. I'm still not sure where they're going with the Julia Hart thing.
Right, she attacked her pre-bell.
Yeah. But I'm intrigued. It's whatever it is. It seems to be a slow burn. And to AEW's credit, they do things that take a while, but they don't tend to just abandon stuff like WWE and TNA were notorious for doing. And the Julia Hart thing is one of those things. And then you've got the Hikaru and
Serena
Deeb angle that's been going on for months now. So I'll give them credit. They keep stuff burning.
Hey, as Shane Strickland, Swerve Strickland, was backstage, he's getting an interview. They get attacked by Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs. Here comes Keith Lee, the even the odds, and Lee put Hobbs through the wall.
Yeah.
What a spot.
Yeah, he did. Again, another major player in AEW, and you got to think maybe at some point we get Keith Lee and Joe AEW version, or my goodness, there's a very strong possibility the money is higher that it's going to happen.
Oh, hey, we didn't talk about the rap that was on Joe. Max Caster knocked it out of the park. That is probably the best diss rap that he's had, because he said, "Yo, when AEW beat NXT, Joe was the champion."
When does he not knock it out of the park, man? That dude never.
Well, there's been a couple. Yeah, he has. There was a dud that he got suspended for.
Oh yeah,
said duds.
Yeah, but so here's the thing, dude. We're seeing him on TV every single week now. I mean, that is getting the acclaim is over, man.
Yeah, he's had some duds, but I'm telling you, he knocked it out of the park. He goes, "I'm something about I'm sex and you're the X division," and Joe's like, "Yeah, okay, yeah." And then when we beat you, you were the champion. Oh, okay, yeah, I gotcha. But
and he made some kind of reference to Samoa Joe's towel too.
Yeah, something about his towel. I don't know. Let's talk the main event. FTR taking on the Young Bucks. This is number 2. FTR, the current Ring of Honor and AAA champion, and they are both on the line. This is probably the best match I've seen in the tag division.
Yeah.
In a long time. I don't know if it's the best one ever in AEW, but you know what? It wasn't gory. It wasn't hardcore. They weren't doing major spots over and over. FTR are a vicious team. I want to ask you this, kind of a side note here. Teams like FTR, people like Adam Cole, or let's say Cody, or Young Bucks, when they leave the big organizations, let's say Joe, or let's say FTR, when they leave the big leagues and they make a bigger name for themselves outside the company, how is WWE not realizing the talent that they have when they're letting them go? Because a team like FTR are bigger now than when they were in WWE.
And when they were in WWE, Meathead, they were doing backstage segments where they were in the bathroom lathering each other up.
Right.
That was how they were being used. They were being used in a comedy aspect. WWE. I mean, they
Are you confusing them with the Good Brothers?
Were the Good Brothers lathering themselves up
I'm
too?
talking about Gallows and Anderson. Weren't they doing that?
I know FTR was lathering each other up. I mean, they may have. Maybe I'm confusing it. Maybe they were lathering Gallows and Anderson up. But
Well, that was a different show that you were watching. You just saw four big muscly guys lathering each other up. I don't know what you were watching in your hotel.
I get a lot of channels.
Yeah, but anyway.
So no. I mean, I think that WWE to a certain extent still tells himself, oh yeah, but that super quality independent style wrestling, that's not our product. We're an entertainment company. So we don't necessarily care about these guys' work rate as much as we do, an interesting segment where they're doing something funny backstage. I think there's still a little bit of that hubris there within the company that they'll look at something like that and say, yeah, but what they're doing isn't exactly what we do in WWE. We're not in the wrestling business, Ted.
Well, they had, very nice callback. They had the comedy spots at the end when they hit the BTE trigger on the Young Bucks, and then they kissed Matt. Yeah. That's funny. Then they hit their move, and then that's it.
And they can do that, and that feels like that's in the context of the characters who FTR are. But my goodness, what a quick acceleration they have done with making FTR top, not just top guys, but top faces in the company. I mean, yeah, it wasn't going to take much. The AEW crowd, probably has always appreciated
that crowd was amazing.
What these guys can do in the ring, but within a span of a couple of weeks, man. And again, maybe some of it, the Brett rumors and at least the tributes they're playing to Brett, maybe that plays into it a little bit. But my goodness, these guys have become top baby faces in that company.
Well, we also got a little bit of news for the Milwaukee area. Excalibur told us this is the only Milwaukee appearance of the year, June 22nd. Dynamite coming back to Panther Arena.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you better put on your collar and elbow and get down there, Meathead.
Get down, get down, get down, get down. Do you know Jungle Boogie by Kool and the Gang?
Yeah, I do. I know that. I know Jungle Boogie. I know Jungle Boy, not personally, but I know of him. You know what I think you need to do, Meathead? I think you need to make it a point to be the first one in line. I think you need to leave today and start standing in line for that June 22nd show.
We'll get working on that. We also have news, Matthew. Because you did not complete night 2 yet, I'm not prepared to release the season finale, the season final, the points, and announce the winner of the 21-22 PWR Fantasy Draft. We will do that tomorrow morning, Friday morning on April 8th. We'll be announcing the winner.
Yes, we will. We will announce the winner, and for you people who've been playing at home, I guess you can kind of guess who that is. But anyway, we'll stretch it out for another day. Oh yeah.
For Matthew Thomas, the man they call Meathead, we'll be back again at this tomorrow morning. So long, everyone.